Okay, this is an overview of the beginning of your scholarly project. So, as part of your project, you're discussing with your preceptor what area of focus you want to have. And this is where we're going to get started to really nail down your specific identification of a problem or improvement. What are you going to focus on for your scholarly project? So we're going to start out with the problem itself, and what you're going to dive into is basically what that problem is, what is the significance of that particular problem, and clearly define the problem so that you can attack it, so to speak, using evidence-based practice. So you want to be very specific at what your area of focus is going to be for your scholarly project. So you want to take into consideration who are those subjects and who's going to be involved and where is it going to occur. What kind of gap is there between the current practice and what's considered best practice? And again, that's one of the nuances that you're going to take a look at as far as what can be done to elevate the current practice to best practice as you move forward with your scholarly project. You're also going to start conceptualizing the plans for how you're going to execute your project and make sure that it's very clear, and we want to make sure that the project is feasible, so always remember how long we have during this particular time frame in your course. We have a 16-week course. We need to be very real and relevant about what can be obtained or attained in that period of time. And if you have a relatively large project, you may want to take a component of that project and then continue that project beyond the coursework. But again, you want to have something very clear, very significant to practice, to really dive into improving what's going on, and always keep in mind what is feasible and what will your practicum site allow you to do while you are there. So you need to have that buy-in of those key stakeholders. So with that being said, whenever we do projects, we always want to plan for how this is going to be sustained in the future. And very often the two phases that are underutilized and under focused on when we're looking at changing practice is the planning. We want to plan well so that we set ourselves up for success, and then also the sustainability piece. So those are two facets. Very often we're very good at that actual change process, but then it doesn't stick. So we need to plan very well, and we also need to make sure that we have a project that is sustained. So we want to make sure that the overall purpose of the project is very appropriate and congruent with what a master's prepared nurse actually would do in practice. So you will need to get organization permission. Again, this is part of the sustainability piece, that you have the buy-in. And so there is a template that you can follow and recommend to whoever is the stakeholder who does have the power to grant you permission for your project. And then you're going to dive into the evidence. You're going to do an annotated bib, which is a little different than a paper. So you're going to have a paragraph or so on the different evidence-based practice that you're finding in the research. And not only do you just want to find evidence-based practice, but you also want to look at the information and how congruent is it with your particular problem or area of improvement. So you want to be very specific, and you want to make sure that you find the best data that is there. So it's not just if there's one little study that may indicate that this is successful. You really want to look for that very strong evidence, and you're going to include that when you're documenting in your paragraph. Is the evaluation, is that specifically, has it been validated? What was the usefulness of that particular source? Look at the project, is it congruent with your particular area of practice? So all of those are considerations when you're looking at the evidence. You want to dive into the evidence to find what's most appropriate for your area of practice. So those are the things you want to focus on. You will actually have a citation for each one of your sources. And if you're still using the 6th edition of the APA manual, you can cite using the 6th edition, and make sure that you're diving into at least 4 scholarly sources about your particular area of focus, your particular problem that you're looking at. So you want to look at maybe a process that was done in another organization that's maybe similar to yours. That would be a good source, and that it was a well-structured study, and that there's valuable metrics that show that this was indeed an effective improvement. So those are the things that you want to include very clearly and concisely in the paragraph about that particular source. And again, this is the background for your upcoming scholarly project logic model. So we are getting you started in the process now so that you can move forward. This is something that we will be talking about, and I look forward to any questions that you may have about this particular process. But again, we're going to define that problem, we're going to get permission to do the project, and we're going to dive into the evidence and see what the best evidence is, how we can elevate from current practice to best practice. Thank you so much. Let me know if you have any questions. Take care now.